how important it is to utilize products that you have the ability to white label. And if somebody can tell us real quick, just for those people out there that do not know what white labeling is, what is that? And then, how is that being utilized and when should you utilize that? I think it does help you transition to that next stage. We're like, okay, this is good, but I want to be presentable, right? And white label is being able to take somebody's product and basically just rename it as yours in a nutshell. And for us, it's always keep finding companies that we can do that with, right? So I think Airtable always puts their logo everywhere, but Typeform allows you to, hey, the next stage of Typeform, I can actually take that off and I can play with it and customize it fully as I want. I think that's big. Like, okay, if you want to just be a business that be more presentable, more button up, I think that really helps. I think on functionality doesn't really matter, but it's just more like, hey, I want to show that this is actually, my business, that I care, that is presented, that the UI matters to me, and that I'm looking out for you as well. So it's just from like a purely cosmetic standpoint, but I'm huge on brand. So for me, it's like, it has to look pretty and it has to be able to be like my thing. Not sure how you guys feel about it, but that's my thought.
Yeah, I think as long as it solves the pain point of the user and white labeling is an option towards, solving that, that's totally fine. If you are saying, hey, my whole business purpose is to take technology, white label it and resell it and so on, that's a totally different approach, that you need to be aware of, something that we don't recommend, but we've seen people do that just to essentially, white label and resell things.
Yeah, I mean, now this is a big thing. If anyone comes from a lifetime deal or anything with AppSumo, people if I could take a shot every time I see something in the comments, everyone's like, is this white labeled? Am I getting this for $150 lifetime and it's white label? I'm like, my God, you haven't even used it yet. But I mean, it's good, but to the point of, is it necessary? Or you from cosmetic, if it makes everything streamlined, that's great. More power to you. But if it's just validating in what's going on from there, I don't think it's necessary all the time. So again, it depends on if I'm really heavy onto, I'll give you an example. We work with influencers, and a lot of influencers want theirs white labeled because they're associating themselves with that product or service. And that's from their customers. They don't want anything except themselves. Makes total sense with an influencer and things like that. Different than maybe if I'm thinking about an indie maker that's just trying it out with his audience less than 10 to 15. So I really think it depends on out the gate, the audience and everything, and that association with the product or tool.
There's probably a tolerance, as you said, a tolerance on your audience. If you're just starting and you post it on Product Hunt, I think people will tolerate that it has the logos of all the different products you use because this is the community that's happy with it. If you start posting it in other places and you try to present yourself as a legitimate business, people will question that and will be like, who are those logos? In the end, you just glue stuff together. You're not a legit entrepreneur. But as and then Mariam could probably have a thought on this, on how it works for software. But this is a common request we received from Typeform and VideoAsk. We put this on a paying plan, saying that once you really need to show that you're a legitimate brand, we'll give you all the tools to look like one. But yeah, people do that all the time. And the other thing that's interesting also on the customer facing stuff is the embed possibility. Whereas if you give the Typeform, it's still a Typeform URL, but if you embed it on your website, no one knows it's a Typeform. And there are some tools where you don't need to have this custom URL.
Well, in our case, on the free plan, it's definitely branded with software name, which is understandable. But then on all the paid plans, people are able to put their logo and all of the customize everything they want. Because otherwise it wouldn't even work in our case, right? People are building their own product, they are building their platform, and they want to have their own users. So our platform kind of acts as an intermediary, and people just pay us for subscription price. So I think, I have seen some platforms also even not changing the branding even on the paid version. But I guess it depends on the audience who they are targeting, especially for, as mentioned before, for legitimate businesses, they do want to have their own branding.